Hello, my name is Ben Kass, and my capstone is Rosetta Stone 2.0, Expanding the Language Metadata Table. The Language Metadata Table is a language standard created to provide a unified source of reference for language codes for use throughout the media and entertainment industries. Between open and proprietary standards, there's a dizzying number of language code sets used in media production, marketing, delivery, and more, even within the same company. This leads to confusion in description, delivery, and implementation of services like subtitles and audio tracks. Recognizing this, the LMT was created to provide one standard set of language codes for implementation, built off of IETF BCP 47, a standard I'll mention in a moment. Unlike other language standards, the LMT is guided by existing content and descriptive needs. As a result, it is more specific in implementation while still aiming for comprehensive coverage. The LMT is governed by a working group with representation from across the media and entertainment industries. And you can see here some of our many wonderful representatives and partners on the LMT. IETF BCP 47 stands for Internet Engineering Task Force Best Current Practice number 47. It's used to encode languages online. It combines subtags from other standards. There's over 9,000 available subtags maintained for it, with over 40,000 ways to combine those to create language codes. The LMT, by contrast, currently has 239 language codes constructed according to IETF BCP 47. That means that people using the LMT are choosing from a smaller pool of pre-constructed codes with these existing use cases, so that it's easier to apply the correct code consistently. All right, some language standards have a single entity that needs to be coded, but for media entertainment, you're looking at using language codes for audio, visual written languages, that means subtitles, captions, UI, rights and licensing, distribution, and accessibility, including audio description and sign language interpretation. Here's a picture of some of the LMT codes. Looking at English, we can see language group, audio language tag, audio language display, visual language tag, visual language display, long description. You can see how that differs from Spanish. Spanish is spoken in Latin America, Serbian, two different forms of Armenian, kind of the specificity you can get into here. So for my capstone, LMT partners had identified gaps between the LMT's coverage and their content coverage. It started with 92 language requests from Warner Media and 111 language requests from Viacom. During the project, we received an additional 6 requests from Disney, 33 from Sony, and 3 from the LMT working group itself. I first created a cross-mapping between these to identify overlapping requests. I compared this cross-mapping to the LMT to determine which requests were additions, which updates, and which were already covered. I then met with the LMT working group partners to assess the requests and the use cases behind them and presented to the LMT working group and incorporated their feedback. And then I compared languages to IETF BCP 47 Getty to make sure that we were following their best practices for description. I researched using Ethnologue, Glottolog, Wikipedia, other sources to determine info like geographical coverage, autonyms, scripts, alternative names, everything needed for the languages to be ingested into the LMT. I separated out language requests with issues to troubleshoot and kind of get further review. And finally, I finished my research and I sent off the list of prepared languages for review by the LMT working group. Some challenges, quick. There were conflicting requests. For example, Taiwanese. I had requests for Chinese, Taiwan, Taiwan Mandarin, and Mandarin, parentheses, Taiwan. You can see each of these has a different code associated with it, and there are different display name requests as well. There's also a tricky problem with 3-character versus 5-character codes. That means, are we saying, do we want language as spoken in country, like Arabic as spoken in Palestine, or a more specific form of that language, in this case, South Levantine or Palestinian Arabic? As you can see, 2 different codes there. It is difficult to locate information on some languages, particularly ones less studied in the West. And also just in research, identifying correct names and autonyms, particularly for language groups and macro languages, is really hard. Results. So we have 95 languages ready to go and sent off to the working group for review and ingest. This edition alone is going to be an almost 40% increase in number of languages covered by the LMT. 33 languages were separated for further research and feedback. 12 of these are language groups that only need autonyms, so I'm hoping they can be moved forward quickly. 23 languages of the Indian subcontinent I sent for review by Cube Cinema, an Indian media content and services provider. They'll know much better what to do with Indian languages than me. 19 Chinese languages were sent to the LMT Chinese Language Subcommittee. Chinese languages ended up having some disagreement between requests, so we want to give those a really good review. 18 Arabic and 3 Quechuan languages were sent to subcommittee. They had kind of a 3-character versus 5-character issue, so that's going to be a discussion and decisions from them. And then 1 fictional language, Bulbovian, from the movie Frontier, was set aside while we figure out guidance on fictional language coverage. I want to give a special thanks to Yona Levinson and Meg Morrissey, the LMT co-chairs. Yona originally began the LMT at HBO. She's the one that introduced me to it, and she's the one that introduced me to this capstone. as well as Guy Finley, president of MESA, the organization that sponsors the LMT. And thanks to him for sponsoring my capstone. Thank you.